BigCommerce and what we're trying to provide our members. And I mean, we went through so many iterations of what could possibly work. And I think it basically just, we got to the point where what made the most sense for Dane Buy Local and what made the most sense for their members was to provide a solution, an independent solution, right? So this isn't, if you run through this program, it's a program that's being offered by Greater Galaxy specifically to Dane Buy Local members. Right, so we work with a program or a software company called BigCommerce. So essentially what BigCommerce offers, it's a hosted e-commerce solution, right? So you can go on there, on any and every plan they have unlimited products, unlimited bandwidth. I have a full features list here, actually. And unlimited storage. So physical, digital goods. You can potentially even sell services out of there too. There's two primary plans that BigCommerce offers. Well, technically there's three, but there's two that apply specifically to small businesses. The first of which is a $10 a month plan. So like I said, you know, that would cover unlimited products, storage, bandwidth. However, the limitations of the $10 a month plan do not give you dedicated support from BigCommerce. And they restrict you to only using PayPal to accept merchant service transactions. And then on top of that, they also charge you an additional 1.5 transaction fee for using that plan, right? So although it might seem affordable, and maybe a good way to just kind of get online and start playing with e-commerce and seeing what's available. As a long-term solution, it doesn't really make sense for businesses that are serious about what they're offering.
Does BigCommerce have the ability to host a general website in addition to the e-commerce, or is it just the e-commerce piece like Square and you plug it into an existing website?
How do you mean?
Like, so if I have a page that has, you know, our store information and about us and a blog and a gallery and all that stuff, and then there's the shopping, would they be able to host all the informational content as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can absolutely create pages. If you want to do a custom homepage, it gets a little bit more complicated because BigCommerce likes to just kind of aggregate your data and populate it on a homepage saying, hey, this is a store. But there are ways around that. Like you can put it on a subdomain like shop.yourdomain.com. There's all kinds of tricks. It depends on what your needs are, right? So if you did want to have, you know, like a homepage that didn't really advertise your store, that just kind of promoted you and advertised you as a local business because you're trying to get people in your store, you'd have to do a custom setup with that, but you could absolutely make that implementation.
Alex, question?
Yeah.
You said that with the $10 they only use PayPal. Is there an issue with PayPal? Is it expensive? Or?
There's no problem. It's technically a Braintree integration, but Braintree is a PayPal company. It's just they made it easier to integrate with software platforms, right? So there's no problem with accepting PayPal, and actually in a lot of scenarios, especially with e-commerce, PayPal tends to be a preferred payment method because it is very secure. However, for I think it's transactions under, I want to say 5 or 10,000 a month, it costs 2.9% plus 10% per transaction, right? So it's kind of high merchant service cost.
Plus they tack on another 1.5.
Plus on the $10 a month plan, you're right, it's an extra 1.5%.
Really at 4.5% and then either 10 or 30 cents a transaction.
Yeah, and that's consistent with Stripe, and if you were to go and do auth.net on your own without seeking a merchant service provider locally. So the other plan, which is really what we want to highlight today, is this $80 a month plan. Now, the $80 a month plan has, like I said, you know, unlimited products, bandwidth, and storage, but it eliminates the transaction fee when you get up there. It also allows you to do advanced shipping methods and shipping estimates, right? So you can, any kind of shipping provider you want to use, you know, whether it's United States Postal Service or UPS or FedEx, you can make integrations with your software to automate those processes and even print shipping labels directly from the software. Yeah.
So this may be a totally stupid question.
No, it's fine.
So if you're paying $80 a month, but I have people coming into my business and buying things too, can I use that same format to go and on the website? I mean, does that make sense? Or, because I don't have e-commerce, I'm not really sure if it makes sense for me to have one, but we do a number of ours. It could make sense to go through my website. But.
So with the $80 a month plan, you can also get preferred payment providers too, so it's no longer just PayPal. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Well, and I'm just wondering if people are coming into the office and paying for, say, services and products or whatever, would I still use this service, or is this only for e-commerce?
Sure, so there are some platforms that integrate, like you can use Clover. I know Clover integrates with this platform, and it'll actually allow you to do inventory management. So like you basically do your inventory management through Clover, and it integrates and does lifetime updates with BigCommerce. So any kind of transaction that you make in person or on the website would allow you to have very consistent inventory. Does that answer your question?
But my question is, the transaction part?
You want to charge the people.
Charge.
You want
Charge.
to bill them through using the
Yeah, I mean,
e-commerce
I
site.
swear right now.
You would have to, not sure.
Yes.
Yeah, well it's the same, so if you're using a merchant service provider, right, so
Right.
Square, I think, does Square have a,
POS?
yeah, okay.
Do they have
so,
what?
Point of sale.
Point of sale.
So you can, you should be able to integrate Square, the same account that you have on BigCommerce, so those transactions are running through the same merchant service provider, right? So you can track the transaction, whether it's occurring on BigCommerce or from your point of sale.
Even though the transaction fee is waived on BigCommerce, you'll still have the transaction
pay
fee
the
for the
Square or
merchant.
for-
Right,
the
yeah,
merchant
that was
service.
separate from the merchant service
Right.
transaction.
Right. You just want to have the additional 1.5% that BigCommerce puts on it to $10.
But Modus is cheaper than Square.
Well,
That's what it
depending,
is.
yeah. I mean, percentage-wise, absolutely, but
It
if your
depends on the
ticket's like $4,
No, we don't need that.
you know, if your average sale is pretty low, then Square's pretty great, but, or if the volume's,
I think the volume,
Pretty
we
low.
probably do need to talk.
So, additionally, the $80 a month plan also provides you with an abandoned cart saver. And so there are, in our ebook, which if you sign up for one of these plans, you'll get a free copy. There are many different reasons for abandoned carts, but you can negate a lot of those people, you know, or you can encourage a lot of those transactions that should have otherwise happened if people drop out of the cart by sending them emails, right? So the $80 a month plan has an automated system set up where if somebody drops out of the cart with items in it, it'll send them emails that you can customize and says, hey, you still have items in your cart. Do you want to come check out and finish the transaction?
God, it annoys me when Staples does that.
What's that?
It annoys the hell out of me when Staples does that.
So you can
But
be annoying with
it's-
it, but you can also be artful with it.
Right,
There's
that's
a way
the
to
thing
be.
is yeah, when it's a smaller business, I'm much more inclined towards
Right,
it than when
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
Hey, dude.
Staples.
God.
Yeah, well,
Come on, you gotta wait that
there's
you
no way
need
to
to-
stop them, and they just keep sending them, and I'm like, oh, no, I don't want it.
And
How do I tell you that?
if informality is part of your brand, you could even put in a subject, hey dude, you forgot. You know, and that's probably, oh, what did I forget? So
I'll get open.
that's probably a really
I
good
thought
way
I ordered that.
to encourage those transactions.
That would have saved me 4 hours yesterday.
Yeah.
If the equipment I had to order for one of our clients, if I would have had an abandoned cart email reminder, I swear to God, I checked out.
Yeah.
So on top of that, it also has advanced segmentation tools. So if you want to get really into marketing strategy with your website and say, you know, like, well, this is my primary target market, but I've segmented it to 4 different types of people, you can go ahead and say, these are the 4 types of people that fit within my target market, and I want to send them different email campaigns. Right? I want to send them different strategies to get them back to my website and follow through with the transaction. Right? So those tools are available on this plan. Additionally, with the $80 a month plan, you can purchase, so BigCommerce, no matter what platform or what service option you choose, it provides you with secure checkout, right? So, however, they do that on what's called a shared SSL or shared secure sockets layer certificate. So BigCommerce has this secure method of transmitting data back from the user to, say, a bank account or like a credit card company to process. But if you use their shared SSL, what happens is when a customer goes to a secure zone of your website, the domain name changes, right? So it would change from, say, greatergalaxies.com to a store identifier.mybigcommerce.com. You can change this by purchasing your own SSL certificate. And that would basically make it so that no matter where somebody visits on my website, they're going to see greatergalaxies.com, even if they're in a secure zone. And those typically anywhere from $200 to $600 a year, I think, depending on who you get it from or what it does.
What you need.
You gotta sell a lot of product to make that worth it. Really.
I think that most people would see that the site is consistent in brand from where they put the items in the cart to where they check out, that it wouldn't really be a problem. It would be probably a pretty small percentage that would say, wait, this domain name is inconsistent, I'm not going to make the transaction. Mm-hmm. But it would be a percentage, but I wouldn't say it would be any more than like 2% of the consumers working through your website. So, like you said, you'd have to move a lot of products to make it worth it.
I've heard of gateway fees. Where do they come into play?
There's no gateway fees, right? So essentially, the merchant service provider, that transactional process is where that fee occurs, right? So you might have like a setup fee that if you went through like...
Yes, depending on, there's two different ways, right? So a PayPal or Stripe scenario may or may not have a gateway fee depending on for example, what flavor of PayPal you might choose. Some of those have gateway fees.
18 different types of PayPal.
Yeah, but most gateways outside of those scenarios have a pretty standardized expense. They're almost all $20 a month. They're almost all 10 cents a transaction, and they're almost all $100 to set up. The solution we put together stripped down everything we could strip down for any of the gateways we can deliver on. So that setup cost is at $50, the monthly fees at $15, and the one we prefer does not have a per transaction fee to it.
So Mason mentioned a flavor of merchant service provider, right? So if you're using a standard PayPal integration, there's no gateway fee, because what's happening is during that transactional process, the customer will actually leave your website to go to PayPal, right?
Yeah.
If you use, say, PayPal Payments Pro or PayPal Payments Website Pro, what'll happen is PayPal will basically take that gateway and say, here's an application programming interface key that will let you take that gateway and plug it into your website so that when the consumer runs through that transaction process, they stay on your website.
Yeah, it's invisible to them.
And that's what they're charging you the $20 a month for.
Yeah. So PayPal, in their shared domain SSL model, isn't going to charge a monthly fee in most of their versions, but you will pay for it in percentage.
But a lot of advice, when we just redid our site, the add e-commerce and add all that, and what a lot of people that I talked to said when you're starting out was to use PayPal for the first month and just see how much traffic you get.
Right.
And once you know how much people are buying online, you know if it makes sense to stick with PayPal where it's a higher percentage, but if you don't have enough transactions to justify the monthly costs, you can just use them. If you're selling enough that it justifies a $20 a month fee, then you can switch over and start using a merchant services provider. Don't know if you agree with that advice, but that's what a lot of people
I think it's sound advice.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants to throw money away, they don't have to.
I think that, if you're not generating enough traffic to cover the costs of it, it's definitely worth it. If you are, I think it is worth it because it does increase the percentage of viewership that would come through and make a transaction and not fall out of the transaction process. So, last but not least, the $80 a month plan also offers what's called Omnichannel sales tools. And what these do, most of these are media and directory listing integrations, right? So you can take, say you have your website, right, but you're also running an eBay store and you have a Facebook page. You want to drive more traffic to your website, but not only that, sell on other platforms. So the Omnichannel sales tool would allow you to make an integration with eBay stores and Facebook stores to sell on those other platforms and have those transactions run through BigCommerce. It also allows you to have an automated data feed running with Google Shopping, right? So if somebody searches for a product on Google and they click on the shopping tab, your product would appear there with what the product was, the price, the rating, and the description. And that's a really, really powerful way to get people back to your website by showing that integration with Google and that you're Google friendly. Our recommendation was pretty much just the $80 a month plan. If you want to just get started and just kind of see what e-commerce is, what the world of e-commerce is like, then the $10 a month plan would suit you well, but there are so many limitations in comparison to the value that the $80 a month plan provides that it doesn't really make very much sense to stay on the $10 a month plan. What we're offering is not just a sign-up form, right? We're not going to just say, hey, you can choose one of these plans and leave it at that. We're going to actually, for $50 as a setup fee, we'll go ahead and take you through the sign-up process. We'll also give you a free copy of our ebook. We'll give you, if you're on the $80 a month plan, we'll give you support via email and maybe a phone call if you really need it. And we'll also offer you a template that we created specifically for Dane Buy Local members. And it's not just the template. We'll actually sit down with you and we'll put your logo in there for you. We'll change the colors to match your branding precisely. And we'll also fix your typography so that it matches the feel of your brand. Additionally, we'll offer you a 1 to 2 hour consultation on any questions or issues you're concerned with, and provide you with some success strategies to grow from there. What we get in return, just so there's transparency about this, we get a 30% commission on any individual who signs up through us for BigCommerce. So that's where we're making the return on. Website support. If you need it, if you're on the $10 a month plan, there are tools for you to use, such as BigCommerce provides you with a knowledge base, which you can use no matter what plan you're on. But sometimes you need a hoist, and if you're on the $80 plan, we can provide you with more integral support and help you with, if you have like a nitpicky issue that you can't figure out how to properly categorize an item or apply, an option, we'll get on the phone with you and help you walk through that process. In addition to the website kind of building that we're offering, we also are talking about getting together a mastermind group specifically for e-commerce success. So the individuals who are really dedicated to, my brick and mortar has done so well for the last 5 years, I want to jump into e-commerce and hit it home, right? Not just set up a website and see how it goes, but really, really perform. We're still kind of figuring out the logistics of what the cost will be and what the setup will be. But we're going to provide a group to help individuals work through basically setting up data analysis on their website and monitoring that data and understanding how to read it, and as well as strategies and tactics that you can use to not only improve your traffic to your website, but really work into, well, how many of those people that are visiting my website on a monthly basis are actually making purchases, and how can I get more of them to make purchases? So.
Is that going to be limited to BigCommerce?
No, we're offering it in kind of in tandem with this program. But if you're not on BigCommerce, we're more than happy to offer the mastermind group to you, because all of the theories that we'll be working, theories and strategies that we'll be working through will be applicable to any e-commerce platform that you're on.
Generally speaking.
Generally speaking.
Right.
Some are really hard to work with. And we don't want to-
We use BigCommerce.
Okay. Can I answer any questions about any of this for anyone?
There's no local BigCommerce, is
No.
there? I don't think so.
I'm sure BigCommerce started out local somewhere.
Yeah. That was a struggle for me when I set this up, so this is, to me, it's a great option because you're buying local by going through you guys, but you still have all the benefits that BigCommerce can offer. And they've been really helpful to me.
Cool.
So that's that.
Okay, so we threw a lot of numbers and information at you. Like I said, we are recording this, so you can go back and listen to this online here. We'll have it up in the next few days. But that's the end of our presentation. If you have any other questions, we'll answer them. Otherwise, thank you for coming. Appreciate your attendance today.